My guest is President of Job Creators Network Foundation, Chief Communications Officer of Job Creators Network. She's also a writer. Her stuff I read in Washington Examiner, Real Clear Politics. Please welcome to the program Elaine Parker. Ms. Parker, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Hi, Larry. Thank you for having me.
I want to talk to you about this Tax Cuts Work National Bus Tour. I understand it resumed last week.
It did, and we have gotten off to a great start. We have, in the last 10 days, we have had 9 events in 7 states, and ultimately we will finish up covering 25 states and 50 stops. And all we were talking about is how hot this economy is. We've got small business optimism that is at its highest. We've got unemployment that is at the lowest of the lows we've seen in a long time. And nobody could complain. Nobody except the protesters.
Ms. Parker, how do you respond to people who say, well, all this is an extension of the wonderful economy that had begun under President Obama, and President Trump is simply the beneficiary of that?
You know, it's hard to look at the numbers and look at the deregulation and the tax cuts that have happened and not attribute it directly to the policies of this administration versus the last administration. You know, when you look at Obamacare and the high taxes and the regulatory environment that these small businesses and our middle class had to endure, it's just absolutely false. For every one regulation that's been introduced under this president, 22 have been repealed. And all that does is unleash the power of this economy. When you've got 30 million small business owners who are employing 60 million people, and you take the red tape off their arms and you let them do what they do best, these are the results we see. Not what we saw in the last administration. My guest is Elaine Parker, President of Job Creators Network Foundation. They're resuming their national bus tour. They're making 50 stops in about 25 states. For more information, you can go to jobcreatorsnetwork.com. That's jobcreatorsnetwork.com. Elaine Parker, I was just reading about that socialist that won that primary in New York, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She went back to visit the restaurant where she used to work, which is now closing, and the restaurant owner says they're closing in part because of the $15 minimum wage that she was pushing and that Hillary pushed for when she was running for president in 2016. You know, that's the thing, is that, you know, the other side just doesn't understand that you can't mandate wages. You have to let the free enterprise push the wages up. And what we're seeing from the tax cuts is we're seeing that labor is, you know, jobs are being created and labor is more scarce. And guess what? Wages are naturally rising. We're seeing employers naturally raise wages because they want to attract the best employees. Elaine Parker, I know that initially the tax cut bill was attacked by the left as giving money to the rich, and it seemed to be somewhat unpopular. And then it became pretty popular after people opened up their paychecks and went, oh my goodness. And now it seems like it's becoming less popular. I think it's in part because the left-wing media are not broadcasting the kinds of stories that you're picking up on your bus tour. You know, that's absolutely true. And during this tour, as we hit these stops and we're working at a grassroots level, obviously meeting with small business owners, and we're getting those stories about how these employers are growing their businesses, expanding, hiring more people, you know, and even we've got a guy who's a cookie maker in South Florida. He actually makes 12 million cookies a day. And as a result of the tax cuts, and he directly attributes it to the tax cuts, he gave each of his employees anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000 a year in raises. And he's also building a brand new distribution facility so that he can ship overseas. And that's more jobs. And that is more money into our economy. And all of those things are directly attributable to the tax cuts. So it's hard to argue that this is not benefiting small business, the middle class, and the majority of people. I mean, over 6 million people have gotten raises and bonuses just as a result of the tax cuts. For more information about the bus tour, go to jobcreatorsnetwork.com. That's jobcreatorsnetwork.com. My last few minutes with Elaine Parker, President of Job Creators Network Foundation and Chief Communications Officer of Job Creators Network. Elaine Parker, I know that the head of J.P. Morgan Chase, Diamond, did not vote for Trump. He's a Hillary guy. But even he recently said, yeah, this economy is because of the decisions that Trump has made. Absolutely. This is a pro-jobs administration with pro-jobs policies, and we are seeing that in the results of this economy with low unemployment and jobs being created every month. And we've got small businesses that are the backbone of this economy and continue to grow and thrive as a result of these policies.
For more information, jobcreatorsnetwork.com. That's jobcreatorsnetwork.com.